Do not vote till you hear the bell. The House will now proceed to vote. Have you all voted? Members, please vote. Representative Gretz.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I rise to explain my vote.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I'm pleased to see bipartisan support for legislation that is going to hold accountable school boards who run their districts into the ground. The Isaac Elementary School District and the governing board members of that district recklessly caused that school district to be run into the ground. And the president of the school board, Patricia Jimenez, said, we don't really get involved in budgeting. That's not our role. That's the superintendent's role. I got news for her, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. That is almost exclusively her role. There's only one entity that can pass a budget in a school district, and that is a governing board. And she said that's not her responsibility. That's the responsibility of a superintendent. And then she facilitates the hiring of her boyfriend for an $88,000 contract to do media for this district. Reckless disregard. This legislation says that if you do not notify the Department of Education that there is no evidence of you contacting the district saying, I think there might be a problem financially here. You might not know what it is exactly, but something isn't quite right. If you don't do any of that and the district goes into receivership, you're fired. And I believe this very, very intently, that thousands of kids were put in jeopardy because of the recklessness and the complete disregard of the operations and the responsibilities to which all of those members had been elected. Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, this bill provides a pathway out of being thrown out of office if you can demonstrate that you were involved. And the final thing that this bill does, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, is it stops the unlawful, shameful lease purchase that the Tolleson Union High School District did to loan Isaac Elementary School District, for which the superintendent of Tolleson Union was consulting a loan, a $25 million loan, a
30
predatory
seconds.
loan, by the way, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, a loan that has a balloon payment in 4 years, that the school district is going to have to come up with $18 million in 4 years. That's going to create a massive tax hike on the residents of the Isaac Elementary School
10
District.
seconds.
So, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, this cleans up a lot of problems. That governing board should be held accountable, and future governing boards should be held accountable, and I vote aye.
Representative Gress votes aye. Representative Gutierrez,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I rise to explain my vote.
please proceed.
Thank you very much. Members, this bill is overreaching, and we should not be passing laws in this state because of one public school district. The biggest issue with this bill is the part associated with the governing board. It is not up to the legislature to force a governing board member, or members in this case, to resign. These are publicly elected people. The voters decide who is on a school board and who is not. And those are nonpartisan elections. I will remind you that when a school board member is removed, it is the County Board of Supervisors that appoints someone. And that has been quite partisan in the past few appointments. This is an overreach, and I urge a no vote. I vote no.
Representative Gutierrez votes no. Members, please keep noise to a minimum while members are explaining their votes. Representative Aguilar,
I rise to explain my vote.
please proceed.
Members, one of the things that I do here as a legislator is that I make sure that I lead with children at heart, and I think every legislator here should lead that way. When you're introducing a bill that will hurt a school district and leave kids with no school to go to, I think there's a serious problem there. So I ask you all to really think about this bill because making this retroactive to December 31st will mean that the schools in my district will have to close. More teachers will have to get fired than they already have gotten fired. Administrators and staff that work there. The largest provider in my district is public education. So by passing this bill, not only are you closing my schools, you're also getting rid of the local jobs in my community. So the other thing I'd like to add is that as lawmakers in this room, I can also tell you that there's a lot of people here that can't break down the budget. There's a lot of things that go on with a budget. The JLBC can tell you you have this much money to spend, and then later on we come back next year to find out that we didn't have that much money to spend. And now where's the bill for us legislators to be held accountable, to not be able to run for higher office? If we pass a budget where we're told that vouchers are going to cost less than $1 billion, then we find out the year after that it's costing over $1 billion. Why aren't we getting fired for our jobs? And why aren't we being told to resign? And why aren't we being told that we can't run for higher office? This is the same legislation that you're doing to school board members. If your budget person is telling you, which the CFO was telling the board members this budget, come to find out that it wasn't right, now you want to hold them accountable. That it just doesn't seem like that's something we should be doing here. The other thing I want to point out is that the county treasurer kept allowing the school district to go into debt. The Maricopa County treasurer kept allowing the school district to go to debt. Why isn't he at fault? Why aren't people yelling at that person? The county superintendent is also at fault. Where's the county superintendent? Why isn't he being investigated? The state has an obligation to be following what's going on. Where's the state superintendent? Why isn't he accountable for this mess as well? This isn't just the school board. This is the whole state and county that's also responsible in this state. And if you're voting against this, you're voting against children in my district, and so I vote no.
Representative Aguilar votes no. Representative Lydia Hernandez. Line of sight, please. Line of sight. Representative Livingston, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise to explain my vote.
Please proceed.
I wasn't planning on speaking, but as I'm here, sitting here, listening to my colleagues, having served on a school board for 22 years, I can tell you that there are a lot of fictitious, erroneous statements being made. Although, and I'm going to address with all due respect, I don't agree 100% on the words of Representative Gress.
Representative,
I'm not
please refrain from mentioning others.
pinpointing any leadership, blaming, but I will tell you that mismanagement is not being dealt with at the state level. When we talk about serving the best, our needs, the most vulnerable, mismanagement will show you that we're not making the letter grades. I'm going to use my school district as an example. Due to mismanagement and erroneous and bad decisions, we are at a 4% proficiency reading rate, guys. Our entire population, 4%, can read and write. We have spent $140 million in COVID SR funding. We have spent bond override election monies over the last few years in the same amounts. I mean, considering also our current budget, that is way too much money being spent for 4% productivity. Do we need to address the mismanagement of the boards? Most certainly. But I'm also disheartened by the fact that there isn't the political will to hold board members accountable, instead of looking for others to blame baselessly. Because regarding this one issue in this one school district, if anybody would bother to read the Auditor General's report, the information is readily available. We just turned a blind eye. With that, sir, I vote aye. Thank you.
Representative Lydia Hernandez votes aye. Representative Cruz,
Mr. Speaker, pro tem, I rise to explain my vote.
please proceed.
Colleagues, we are not a monarchy. We are a democracy. And in a democracy, the people choose their leaders. That includes the people of the Isaac Elementary School District. I'll be the first to say that Isaac has challenges, but challenges in governance do not give this body or any other the right to trample on local control. This bill is a reaction, not a remedy. It feels like a blunt instrument to use to punish a district instead of a thoughtful tool to improve it. As my seatmate said, there were many fall-throughs at all levels, in my opinion. But Isaac isn't looking for people to point the fingers or for people to come down with a hammer. They're looking for solutions. Many in our district don't have the luxury of going outside of the district and traveling. They use public transportation to get around, to work in school, and the children in our district deserve to have local schools where they can walk to school and get educated. I want to lift up that just because you spend money on education doesn't mean it's going to result automatically in children learning. All children learn differently, and so I just want to be careful about mentioning that and looking at numbers and money and school outcomes. Some kids need more support, and sometimes it takes a while to learn how best they can absorb information. We can't pick and choose when democracy matters, and we don't just get to silence voters because we don't like the headlines or the heat that is coming from a community in crisis. What our families need most is support and not state-imposed hammers coming down and harming our community more than they deserve. They're going through a lot. What they need is support and not punishment. Thank you.
How do you vote?
I vote no.
Representative Cruz votes no. The clerk will record the vote. By a vote of 39 ayes, 20 nays, 1 not voting, you've passed House Bill 2610, signed in open session. The clerk is instructed to record the action of the House and convey the bill to the governor. Are there any points of personal privilege for announcements and the motion to adjourn? Seeing none, Representative Carbone.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House stand adjourned until 1:15 p.m. Thursday, June 19, 2025.
Members, the motion before you is for the House to stand adjourned until 1:15 p.m. Thursday, June 19th,